You all again in the post-lunch session. Hope you had a great lunch. We welcome you again on the 6th Mega HR Conclave on harnessing human potential in growth-oriented environment. Ancient wisdom, modern management, the role and relevance. Ancient thoughts of modern management is an insight into the essential of management and a workable guidance to success. Professionals today are increasingly questioning the same paradigm of hierarchy, efficiency, goal achievement, control, and authority for finding wisdom oriented strategies. The wisdom from the ancient sources can be of immense help in gaining the required clarity for experiencing truly effective management. So, this is the theme of this session, that is, on the ancient wisdom, modern management, the role and the relevance. So, I would like to call the esteemed delegates, our session chair of this session, Mr. Hans Dholakia, founder, president, Holistic Health, Luminous Learning, on the dais, please. Our eminent speaker of the session, Dr. VP Singh, Executive Director, HR and Chief Pupil, Divyani International Limited. Mr. Sumit Chaudhary, founder, Third Millennium, on the dais, please. Mr. Gurcharan Singh Gandhi, Vice President and Head Learning and Development, Birla Sun Life Insurance. We all welcome you, sir.
So the session chair for this session is Mr. Hans Dholakia. Mr. Hans Dholakia is the founder president of Holistic Health and Luminous Learning Incorporation. He is a chemical engineer, a holistic motivator speaker, and a yoga and wellness coach, a poet, a linguistic, 7 languages including English, and a corporate trainer. He has been practicing yoga for about almost 30 years, and he believes in a balanced material cum spiritual growth. His master is Sri Paramahansa Yogananda, who wrote the globally renowned spiritual classic, Autobiography of a Yogi, that has transformed and still continues to transform lives of millions all over the world. He has a total of over 40 years of experience, being 28 years in sales marketing, ending at director, VP levels, and over 12 years in training and coaching. He conducts corporate training programs on yoga-aided body, mind, soul wellness, stress management, anger and conflict resolution, holistic self-development, work-life balance, managerial effectiveness, leadership development, spirituality at workplace, etc. He has been invited scores of times to give talks at various leading management institutes. We welcome you, sir.
I would like you to come and address the audience, please. Sir, please address the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste and good afternoon to all of you. We are talking about human beings. HR is about human beings. And if you think about it, who are human beings? Are they just bodies? Are they just minds? Are they just personalities or employees? No. These are their outer identities. Inward, they are souls. And that is about spirituality. They are spiritual beings. Now, as spiritual beings, joy is their nature. And if you really think about it, happiness is man's eternal quest. Everything we do for happiness. But what is happiness? Is it fleeting pleasure? Is it the short excitement of having possessions? No. It's the everlasting joy that we are all seeking. Everything we do in life, we do for finding that happiness. And as souls, that happiness is closer to us than our hands and feet. But we look for it at wrong places, and so what results is disillusionment and disease. Happiness is different things to different people. As a child, we thought happiness was about growing up. But once we are elders, we want to go back to childhood. Long years ago, I taught my son a poem which I think can reveal a lot to us adults also. And that poem runs like this. It is in Hindi. It says, the children are saying, सोचा करते हैं हम बच्चे क्या रखा है बचपन में, शीघ्र बड़े हो जाएं हम भी, चाह यही रहती मन में. और बच्चों का फंडा बहुत क्लियर है कि बड़े होकर क्या करेंगे. ओवरकोट पहनकर घूमेंगे, लिए हाथ में एक छड़ी, हम भी रौब जमाएंगे सब पर, मूछें रखकर बड़ी बड़ी. लेकिन हमसे आपसे कोई पूछे, किंतु बड़ों की चाह यही है, किंतु बड़ों की चाह यही है, फिर से बच्चे बन जाएं, मूंगफली भर लें जेबों में और जहां मिले मौका खाएं. कवि कहता है, ये सब गड़बड़ जाला क्या है, आखिर कौन बताएगा. बच्चे तो हो जाएंगे बड़े, बच्चे तो हो जाएंगे बड़े, बड़ों को बच्चा कौन बनाएगा. And the same thought has been expressed by an English poet. We look before and after, before is past, after is what is going to come, future. We look before and after and pine for what is not. Our sweetest songs are those that tell us of our saddest thoughts. हैं सबसे मधुर वो गीत जिन्हें हम दर्द के सुर में गाते हैं. क्यों ऐसा है? Because we are always looking for that something else which would make us happy. That something else is our spiritual essence. Call it soul, call it God, call it whatever. We are running short of time, so I will quickly tell you a few things which I think would connect the modern management with the ancient wisdom. And Bhagavad Gita says that Ishwar Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjun Tishtati. God resides in the heart or in the soul of every being. And the Bible says the kingdom of heaven is within you. And yet, what misery, what suffering outside because we don't connect. The trouble when you talk about spiritual wisdom in modern management is that people mistake it for religion. So it's very important that in the beginning we understand the difference between the two. Religion is the outer institutionalized form. Spirituality is the essence. Religion is made of rituals, practices, customs, belief systems, and dogma. But spirituality is about your daily conduct. How well you conduct yourself. What is your attitude to life, towards yourself, towards your work, towards your peers, etc. So this is the difference which we must always remember. In the ancient Indian culture, the material and the spiritual progress were always balanced. There were very clear four goals: Arth, Dharma, Kam, Moksha. They were like four wheels in an automobile where the two wheels were on the right and two on the left. You could say the two on the material side were earth and Kam, that is money and worldly desires, and those on the spiritual side were Dharma, in the sense of not religion but righteousness, and Moksha, the ultimate liberation, the self-actualization in the hierarchy of needs, or self-realization in yogic parlance. Now, with time, the outer form took the place of the essence, and that's why all the confusion is there. People think, oh, this man is so religious. He's supposed to be so very religious in his life, but he's behaving like this. So what use is religion? What use is God? And what we do is we throw the baby with the bath water. We shouldn't do that. Because of few, we cannot judge all. Even because of many, we cannot judge all. So these are the important things we should remember. Now, we see that technology is giving us a lot of speed, plenty of speed, super speed. But what about the sense of direction? It can only come from our values, and values are essentially spiritual. If you look into any values, you would see deep down they are all spiritual values. They are spiritual tenets, and they are eternal, they are timeless. I think there are three things. I have just shortlisted three things which modern management is learning from ancient spiritual wisdom and can continue to learn in order to do better. The first one is self-management. And about this, first a shlok from the Bhagavad Gita again, and then from some management gurus to correlate the two. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Uddharet Atmana Atmanam na Atmanam avsadiyet Atmev hi Atmano bandhu Atmeva ripu Atmana. It's very simple and very potent advice, a great self-management advice. He tells Arjun, Lord Krishna says, raise yourself by yourself. Uddharet Atmana Atmanam. Raise yourself by yourself. Do not let yourself down into despondency, because you are your own best friend and your own worst enemy. Now you would say, self, are there two people in order to be the manager and the managed? Yes, there are two in fact. There is a higher being, the soul, aligned with the reason of the intellect, the discriminating faculty in you, and the lower body, mind and ego complex, which is the executive. So the higher self must guide the lower self, must motivate it, must pull it up at times, and must always manage it. Now Peter Drucker says, the need to manage oneself is creating a revolution in human affairs. And he adds that in knowledge economy, the need of self-management will only grow. Now, in order to manage yourself, you need two things. One is self-motivation, and another is self-management or self-discipline or self-regulation. About motivation, there is a very crucial understanding that we must have. Nobody can motivate you. Others can inspire you to motivate yourself. It's like you can take a horse to the well, you can't make it drink. But once the horse is aware of its thirst, it wants to drink. So there should be awareness in us in order to make any progress in life. Okay? And to this, Marshall Goldsmith has coined the word mojo. It's very similar in meaning to motivation or moj. And it says, positive spirit is that which starts from inside and radiates to the outside. It's from inside out, not from outside in. But the main problem is our perception, the way we look at things, And the ancient wisdom says, yatha drishti tatha srishti. And Lord Buddha said, you are as you think. And the management guru Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at also change. Now it's a beautiful statement, very potent. If you change the way you look at things, the realities as they appear to you, as you perceive, will change. Your whole life changes. Your own being in your eyes, your relationships, your work, everything has a different color, a different appearance. And Stephen Covey also said that in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said, the way we look at our problems is the problem. The way we look at our problems is the problem. So change the way. You don't have to change the world. Nobody has been able to do it. Ram aaye, Rahim aaye, Paigambar aaye, Jesus Christ aaye, दुनिया वही है. आप देखिए. You might take a positive view, you might take a negative view, and both are right in their own perspectives. But you can change the way you look at things. That's a choice you have. You always have that choice. And the way you look at things depends on the thoughts you have in your mind, your value system, your perceptions, and they are your choices. So Bob Proctor, another management guru, says, thoughts become things. If you look at the creation, everything that man has been able to create began as a thought in the mind. And he also says, everything you are seeking seeks you in return. That's the law of attraction. Many of you might have seen the Secret movie and might have known this. Time is short, so I will not dwell further on that. So self-awareness is the key. Peter Drucker also said this, to hold something in your hands, you must first have that in your mind. You cannot have in your hands, you cannot perceive, you cannot see, you cannot make tangible what you do not first have in your mind. हर चीज़ एक विचार से शुरू होती है. ये सृष्टि की शुरुआत भी एक विचार से हुई. एको अहम बहुश्याम. Let there be light, and there was light. All scriptures say the same thing. Now, when you have something in your thought and it becomes an intense desire, it becomes a passion. Arjun had that passion. Eklavya had that passion. And this is all a soul desire in order to become a passion. So Zig Ziglar says, passion is born when you catch a glimpse of the human potential, of your potential. We are talking about potential, we are talking about growth. When you have a glimpse in your mind's eye of your potential, then you become passionate. And when passion is born, success follows. One thing more about self-management before we go to point 2 is self-management is a hierarchy. There is, you can imagine a chariot where there are 5 steeds or 5 horses, which are the senses, the sensory forces. On them there is a rein, एक लगाम है जो मन की है, उसके बाद एक सारथी है जो आपकी बुद्धि है जिसमें डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है, और जो मालिक है, जो रथी है, वो आत्मा है जो अंदर बैठी हुई है. तो ध्यान के द्वारा आत्मा बुद्धि को आलोकित करेगी, बुद्धि संयम के द्वारा मन को, और मन इंद्रियों के ऊपर अंकुश रखते हुए रथ को सही तरह से चला सकता है. The second point that modern management can and should learn is about balance. There's a lot of talk these days about work-life balance, and I think that is a misnomer. Work is a part of life. How can you and why should you try to balance a part with the whole? Can I, or do I need to balance my finger with my hand? No, my finger is a part of my hand. When you enjoy what you do, when you bring your passion and your love, your heart's joy to what you do, excellence results. So it's actually a work life, family life integration. The moment you look at work as opposite to life, there is a conflict, and then there is stress. The stress is in the mind. It's in the way you respond to a situation. It's not in the event itself. So the Bhagavad Gita again says about balance. Yogastha kuru karmani sangha tyaktva dhananjaya siddhi asiddhi samabhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. This is the key word. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity, balance is true yoga. And we need balance constantly in every sphere of our life. Not only between work life and personal life, but also between yin and yang, between the masculine and feminine tendencies in your mind. Actually, scriptures have always been misunderstood, and that's why there are religious conflicts. If you look into Genesis, the real meaning of Adam was reason. The real meaning of Eve was feeling. The real meaning of the tree of life is the spine, which is like an inverted tree with hair as the roots and so on. The real meaning of the serpent which tempted Eve was, or rather should be, the Kundalini Shakti, the life force coiled in the lowest chakra. So we need this balance constantly between home and office, and also between activity and calmness. We talk so much about stress and how it affects employee wellness, employee productivity, employee engagement, and things like that. Think of it. If you look around, you will see two kinds of people. Some people are active, very active, all right. They are very productive, they work a lot, they do multitasking and all kinds of things, but they are very stressed because deep down they are not peaceful. There is another variety, people who are very peaceful, but they are escapists. They are lazy, they are indolent, they run away from their roles. We don't need either of them. We need a balance between the two, who can be outwardly active, committed to their role plays, but inwardly tranquil and peaceful and focused. So my master gave a mantra which I want to share with you, and he said, be calmly active and actively calm. बाहर से व्यस्त रहिए, अंदर से मस्त. Now, Zig Ziglar, now the corresponding thought from the modern management is, he said, you can't be truly successful in life, in your business life, if your home life is in shambles. And this is what is actually happening these days to many outwardly successful managers. They have unhappy personal lives. Will you call that a success? Can you call any person, no matter how much money or power he or she has, to be successful if they are not happy? Happiness is the ultimate measuring yard for success in life. And for this, we need Samyak Jivan, we need Yam and Niyam of Ashtanga Raj Yoga. And David S. Jordan has said, there can be no excellence, no sustainable excellence at workplace without right living. And finally, and very short, the third point that we can learn from ancient wisdom as a wise practice is meditation. I can't say enough about this. It is so vital. But thank God, many organizations are realizing its importance, and it cuts across dogmatic boundaries, and everybody needs to meditate. Modern neuroscience research has confirmed that all human beings, we all need at least 30 minutes of alpha waves, 8 to 12 CPS frequency, in order to be sane in our daily life, professional and personal, both. And there is the talk about aura also. Aura is now a scientifically measurable reality. There are I would do my job as the session chair now, and I would request Dr. Singh to come over and speak to us. Just 1 second. Dr. VP Singh is Executive Director, HR of Devyani International Limited, and he very humbly and very rightly calls himself Chief Pupil also. Unless we learn, we cannot really teach. Welcome, Dr. Singh. Kindly enlighten us. Thank you.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be very short, as short as I can. I am from corporate world, and I would like to relate ancient wisdom with corporate world. I have been a student of human behavior for a very long time, and about 30 years back, more than 30 years back, my teacher who taught me in a college in Calcutta, which is now Kolkata, he told me that if you want to learn technology or engineering, West is fine. But if you want to understand people, if you want to understand human behavior, you don't have to go to Harvard, Yale. The wisdom is available here. Very straight statement, and it pushed me to delve a little into our scriptures, primarily Hindu scriptures to start with, and I dived into them primarily for my own self-understanding, being a corporate employee. And I found that indeed there were nuggets of wisdom which can be extremely useful if you are running a business, if you are running a team, if you are running an organization. Then I had fortune to meet my teacher again and collaborated with him, wrote a couple of articles, and that journey continued, and it continues even today. And I stand here this afternoon to primarily share three things. Something about some wisdom from Hadith, which is primarily Islamic thought process. Hadith is primarily a documentation of various leaders of Islam, their behavior, how they rule the society. So Quran and Hadith are extremely important source. And I have something from there, a little bit from Mahabharata, and lastly a bit from Rahim and Tulsi. We'll start with this social contract between a leader and his followers. This is about a Khalifa who was the first successor of Prophet Muhammad, and when he took over the community of Muslims, this is what he communicated, this is what he said. And if you read it very carefully, you will find that this is a very powerful statement of leadership. And what it says, that I have been chosen to rule over you, though I am not the best amongst you. I'm not the best. I have been chosen. Help me if I am right, correct me if I am wrong. When I read this statement, I see a bit of reverberation in what Narendra Modi spoke from Red Fort. I am not an admirer of Narendra Modi, by the way. He has his own dark side, but he used a very powerful statement कि मैं प्रधानमंत्री नहीं हूँ, मैं प्रधान सेवक हूँ. That's a leadership statement. Whether he does it or not, time will tell. And we need to observe. But that was a very powerful statement. And the person, Abu Bakr, who was the first person to lead Muslim community after the death of Prophet Muhammad, this is what he is saying. That I have been chosen to rule over you, though I am not the best amongst you. Help me if I am right, correct me if I am wrong. The weak among you will be strong until I have attained for him his due. A very simple English sentence, but a very powerful statement. जो गरीब हैं, जो कमज़ोर हैं, वो तब तक कमज़ोर रहेंगे जब तक मैं अपनी तरफ से कोशिश नहीं करता हूं कि वो मजबूत बन जाए. It's an ongoing struggle to make weak strong. And that's the contract he is making with his public, his people. And the strong among you will be weak until I have made him give what he owes. The concept of donation, zakat, and other thing comes here. Another powerful statement. Obey me as long as I obey Allah and His Prophet. If I do, so obey them. If I do, no. If I don't,
Do not obey them.
do not obey them. You owe me no obedience. Your obedience is not to me. And that's something I found extremely powerful. That here is a leader who is making that claim, making that statement. If we go further, it also has a complete list of the qualities of a leader. And there are 12 qualities, and I don't need to read them all. But some of them you can probably reverberate, you can find some resonance in this list of personal qualities. Let me move forward to Mahabharata. And Mahabharata, there is a particular chapter which is called Shanti Parva. Shanti Parva is that part of Mahabharata where the war is over, the Pandavas have won, Kauravas have been vanquished, and Bhishma Pitama is lying on the bed of arrows. The war is over. Now, Pandavas go every day evening to take, kind of guidance from this patriarch. And every day evening, Bhishma talks about, Yudhishthir goes and he asks that, now that we have won the war, how we should run this state. And this dialogue goes on. And this is the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata is only about how to run a state. And that's where the role of a king, which in the modern context is leader, comes into picture. And Bhishma keeps on sharing his wisdom that how you should run now that you have won the war and now the state is under your supervision. So when Yudhishthir says that how a king should behave, and then Bhishma says something very powerful, that a king should be like a king's bearing countenance, demeanor towards his subject ought to match a pregnant lady's bearing countenance and demeanor towards her fetus. Like a pregnant woman has complete focus and attention on the person who is inside her body. Her everyday movement, everything is around that baby, that child. So the king has to manage his subject as if that subject is within him, within his body. Powerful statement. Bhavitavyam sadaragyad garbhani sahadharmina. That's what he says. Then there is more from Bhishma again. And Bhishma says that king should see his sons and grandsons in their subjects. And I don't need to read much, but that's the kind of advice he gives, that you treat your subjects as if they are part of your family. Then there is also a question that how soft or hard